2:47 a.m., an alert popped up about insufficient funds for our mortgage payment. My account had $32,000 last week. I personally confirmed the quarterly team bonuses deposit. My wife Cassandra lay sound asleep beside me. As I peered at my phone in the dim room, 20 minutes later, a series of transactions unveiled a secret that would shatter our 8-year marriage and expose a betrayal meticulously orchestrated and financially imprudent. The charges, from locations unknown to me, were made on dates Cassandra claimed she was attending regional sales conferences for 4-star pharmaceuticals. In Scottsdale, they had charged $270 for dinner at a steakhouse, premium wine tasting experience, and a couple's massage package. 3 weeks ago, all the expenses were incurred within a span of 48 hours, coinciding with the weekend she had shared pictures of her monotonous conference hotel room and voiced dissatisfaction over the rubber chicken dinner. As I scrolled back, I found Miami, 2 nights at a beachfront resort, jet ski rental for 2. Sunset champagne cruise in Nashville, stay at a boutique hotel in the Gulch, concert tickets, late-night bar bills that suggested prolonged drinking, Charleston historic bed and breakfast. Carriage ride, exclusive dining experience at a restaurant I had long desired to visit with her on our anniversary but was dismissed as too expensive. She claimed it wasn't worth the drive. However, it seemed worth the drive when it benefited someone else. To my surprise, my hands weren't trembling. Instead, I felt a calculated clarity reminiscent of my days as a financial analyst before moving into management. I was examining facts, gathering proof. A scheme of fraud involving my wife and our joint funds surfaced. I scrutinized a spreadsheet, meticulously itemizing each questionable transaction spanning the last 14 months. The pattern became evident upon examination. Each charge aligned with supposed work trips Cassandra had described. Every location corresponded to cities where her company actually held conferences. She was utilizing official business travels as camouflage for personal getaways, financed from our shared account. By 4:30 a.m., I compiled proof of $47,000 in expenditures. Expensive hotel rooms, 3 times what regular conference bookings would cost. Restaurants situated in romantic areas distant from convention centers. Unusual activities such as tandem kayaking, cooking classes for couples, wine tastings for 2. I cross-referenced these dates with my wife's company's public conference schedule, obtained from their website. She had indeed attended the conferences. Her expense reports, regarding hotel and meal costs, were legitimate according to her company's reimbursement policies. Instead of briefly extending trips for alleged networking sessions in drab conference halls, she created elaborate romantic escapes at luxury hotels, leaving me under the false impression. The cunningness almost left me impressed, but only almost. I required further data before making any decisions. Accessing our shared cell phone account, a cost-saving measure from past years, provided detailed usage records. I downloaded 13 months of call and text logs. A recurring number emerged, primarily during her conference travels, sometimes multiple calls a day and messages at unusual hours. The pattern traced back to 18 months ago and grew stronger over time. I ran this number through a reverse search service, which unveiled the identity Dylan Hartwick, sales director for a medical device company. His professional profile indicated attendance at the same conferences as Cassandra. In related professions, their social circles often intersected. His profile indicated a married status with 2 small children. As dawn broke, filtering light streamed through the blinds, unbeknownst to Cassandra, who would awaken soon, expecting a goodbye kiss before I ventured to work, oblivious to the detailed forensic evidence of her affair I had amassed. The question was not whether to confront her, but rather how to impose penalties commensurate with her deceit's magnitude. Her family came to mind. For 8 years, Glenn and Maritza, her parents, had graciously welcomed me to their Sunday dinners. Austin, her younger brother, admired me, sought my career guidance. Bree, her sister, regarded me as kin, inviting me to her children's birthday parties. They all believed our marriage was a model to emulate. Cassandra had also deceived them for months, fabricating stories from her work travels. Every time Cassandra lamented her absence from home, every time she received their empathy for her arduous itinerary, she was deceiving them while squandering my funds on another man. They had the right to know the truth, but more importantly, they needed to witness the evidence themselves, to eliminate any possibility of Cassandra weaving tales or assuming the role of a victim. I started amassing a dossier. It contained screenshots of every hotel expense, every meal at a romantic restaurant, every joint activity with a partner. I added context notes. March 15, 1851, Cassandra told family she was attending a conference in Miami. The conference ended on the 16th, but hotel charges indicated her stay extended until the 18th, not at the conference hotel. Included were cell phone records showing an abundance of calls and texts to Dylan's number during each trip. Added screenshots of Dylan's professional profile, including a photo of him with his wife and children. The file swelled to 43 pages of proof. By 7 a.m., Cassandra woke up, finding me already showered, dressed, and brewing coffee as if nothing was amiss. She greeted me and inquired about my day. I informed her that I had consecutive meetings lined up and anticipated staying late at work. She suggested a possible gym session following work, possibly dinner with a friend. I acknowledged her plans cordially. It wasn't until I reached my office that I dialed the bank. I disclosed that there were unusual transactions in our shared account, necessitating its immediate freeze for investigation. The bank representative inquired if a fraud report should be filed. I declined, only insisting on securing the account temporarily. Within 20 minutes, the account was locked. Although Cassandra could view the balance, neither of us could withdraw funds or make purchases without being physically present at a branch with identification. Following this, I contacted my attorney, Gerald, who managed business contracts as well as family law matters. I outlined the situation in a composed, systematic manner. He heard the entire account, then spoke 4 words that felt validating. "Everything is documented." I sent him the file. 30 minutes later, he called back. "This constitutes financial infidelity with solid evidence," he stated. "In our state, judges take dissipation of marital assets seriously. If she spent $47,000 on an extramarital affair, you can ask the court to consider that in asset distribution. She might have to reimburse you for half that amount from her share of any settlement. I requested a divorce file, but I need some time before she's served. I want to wait because I want her family to learn about it with evidence first, allowing me to control the narrative before she can." Gerald fell silent for a moment. "It's not legally crucial, but it is essential for my peace of mind," he replied. He agreed to prepare the paperwork, but delayed filing until I gave him the signal. That night, Cassandra returned home troubled. "An odd incident occurred," she said. "At the grocery store, my credit card was declined. Utilizing my personal credit card, I was taken aback by the unusual occurrence. Perhaps the bank has flagged some suspicious activity. I'll contact them tomorrow." Meanwhile, she continued grumbling about a challenging client. Providing sympathetic noises, I mentally rehearsed my strategy as Sunday dinner was only 4 days away. Her entire family, including her parents, Austin, Bree with her spouse and kids, was set to attend. It was Maritz's birthday celebration. Cassandra had previously informed me she'd bring her renowned tres leches cake. I planned to contribute something as well. In the subsequent days, I perfected my approach. I didn't want an ambush or a scene that would distress Bree's young children. I required a tactful method for adults to absorb the information discreetly. On Wednesday, the solution manifested. The family group chat, created by Glenn years ago as a scheduling and photo-sharing tool, would serve my purpose. The group consisted of Maritza, Glenn, Cassandra, Austin, Bree, and myself, with Bree's spouse included as well. Even Maritza's sister Carmen was among us, along with 2 of Glenn's brothers. A total of 15 individuals were involved who believed they knew Cassandra. All would receive the information concurrently, preventing her from controlling the flow of information or tailoring different narratives for various people. On Wednesday evening, I penned a message to go along with the evidence folder. It had to be straightforward, factual, and incontrovertible, unable to be misconstrued as an error. "Dear family, I'm distributing this information to everyone at once because you deserve the truth, and Cassandra should not have the chance to manipulate this situation. For the past 18 months, Cassandra has been involved in an affair with a man named Dylan Hartwick. She has utilized our joint marital funds, amounting to $47,000 for romantic getaways with him, deceivingly labeling these trips as work conferences. Here is comprehensive documentation, bank statements, hotel bills, restaurant receipts, activity confirmations, and phone logs. Every expense has a date and corresponds with what Cassandra told us she was doing. I have temporarily frozen our shared account and am initiating divorce proceedings. I'm disclosing this information since she has deceived not just me but all of you in the same manner, and you should see the proof before she attempts to rationalize it. I regret having to convey this through a message, but given her ability to manipulate facts, I will not give her an opportunity to distort the truth. The documents are self-explanatory. I saved the message as a draft but have yet to send it. Not now on Sunday. Cassandra spent her morning baking a cake, singing to music, oblivious to everything. I've been staying in the guest room since discovering the affair, citing a severe cold as my excuse for not wanting to infect her. She accepted this explanation without question. Independently reached her parents' residence by separate routes. She arrived earlier to assist with preparations, while I promised to join following the conclusion of work emails. Instead, I spent time at a nearby coffee shop, my computer open, the family group chat accessible on my screen. At precisely 6 p.m., when I was certain everyone would be assembled in the dining room for the birthday dinner, I uploaded the evidence folder to a cloud storage link. I inserted the link into my pre-prepared message. I scrutinized it one last time, ensuring each word was precise and factual, then transmitted it. Upon its arrival in the chat, typing indicators immediately appeared, suggesting multiple responses. I afforded them 3 minutes to begin opening files and perusing the documents before I myself arrived at the house. Upon entering, the tableau was as I had foreseen. The dining room quiet save for Maritz's sobs. Glenn standing by the table, phone in hand, his complexion pale. Austin remained motionless in his seat, fixed on the screen. Bree had escorted her kids to the living room with their tablets and headphones. She grasped instantly that something terrible had transpired. Cassandra stood centrally in the room, gripping her phone tightly, her face shifting through emotions swiftly enough for me to discern each one. Confusion was followed by understanding, then panic, then defensive anger. "You broadcasted this to everyone," her voice faltered. "You didn't think to discuss it with me first. You had to embarrass me in front of my entire family," I maintained a steady tone. "I forwarded proof of your affair and financial misconduct to people you've been deceiving for 18 months. That's not humiliation, that's disclosure." "It was an oversight," she began. "I can clarify," Glenn interjected. 43 hotel bills, romantic dinners at various restaurants, and couples massages are what I'm scrutinizing, Cassandra. This wasn't a one-time lapse, but a deliberate series of actions. Are these expenses authentic, you ask? Each charge is backed up by transactions from our shared bank account, and every date corresponds to a trip that she had told us was work-related. The phone records display numerous calls and texts to Dylan Hartwick's number. All of it is verifiable. Austin rose abruptly. "Who's Dylan Hartwick?" I replied softly. "A married man with 2 children, he is. His wife's name is Paige. I haven't contacted her yet, but I will. It's only fair that she knows as well. Your sudden venom towards me when suggesting I would destroy his family over this affair partner's betrayal of his own wife is revealing of your lack of accountability." In the dining room, Bree returned after settling her children with a film. Her gaze towards Cassandra revealed an expression she had never seen before, a chilling revulsion from someone who had revered her elder sister. "You spent $47,000 of our joint funds on another man," Bree stated calmly. A shock akin to a physical impact struck Glenn when hearing this, as you had assured us your marriage was stable. Furthermore, you had accepted financial aid from Mom and Dad for your mortgage last year, claiming financial hardship, and yet you still found room in your budget for another man's expenses. 7 years ago, Cassandra defended herself. "That expense was distinct from was there any other man?" Glenn retorted sternly. "It appears you have no qualms about using others' funds for personal amusement, including ours and his, while deceiving us about its destination." Carmen Maritz's sister spoke from the opposite end of the table. "Mija, I stood up for you last year when Tia Rosa suggested you seemed distant during Christmas. I explained to her that you were occupied with work, building a career. Was that a deception as well? Were you not with him during the holidays?" Cassandra's expression denied before words could form. I retrieved my phone and displayed a particular screenshot. Over Christmas to New Year's, she had informed us she needed to work remotely from a tranquil locale to finish year-end reports. In reality, she lengthened a 3-day conference in Colorado into a 7-day ski resort stay. The hotel bills are included in the records. Dylan's credit card took care of the lift tickets and equipment rentals, but our shared account footed the bill for the luxury suite and the New Year's Eve dinner that amounted to $600 for 2 individuals. Maritza emitted a sound that blended sorrow and surprise. "You chose work over attending your grandfather's funeral reception to complete those reports. You claimed it was necessary for your quarterly bonus." The room fell completely silent. Even Cassandra seemed to comprehend she had breached an unforgivable boundary. Skipping a family funeral for work may be justifiable, though unfortunate. but choosing a romantic ski trip with your lover instead, while your family mourned, was inexcusable. Glenn placed his phone on the table with calculated precision. When he spoke, his voice was soft but solid as stone. "Leave this place." "Home, father, leave." He looked at Cassandra as if she were a stranger. "You have deceived everyone in this room. You've stolen from your husband and manipulated your family. You forsook saying goodbye to your grandfather, my father, to be with your affair partner. I don't recognize you. You are not the daughter I raised." Cassandra searched frantically for support in the room, finding none. Austin avoided eye contact, Bree had an expressionless face with crossed arms, Carmen shook her head slowly, and even Glenn's brothers, formerly fond of Cassandra, looked away. With a heavy heart, she gathered her belongings and headed towards the door. Turning back one last time, she pleaded, "You'll all eventually forgive me. Families do. You'll understand that I made a mistake and will move past this." Maritz's words halted her. "I've forgiven many things, but not someone who hides behind family love while showing no genuine affection for the family themselves. There were no mistakes made, only choices." Cassandra acknowledged her numerous decisions, including every deal, lie, and journey. With a quiet click, she exited, leaving me standing by the entrance, uncertain if I should depart as well. This was their family gathering, their time to cope privately. Astounded by Glenn pulling out a chair for me, I said, "Sit down, it seems you know more about her than I do." I complied. Maritza served the meal she'd prepared, and we ate a subdued birthday supper. No one touched Cassandra's tres leches cake. At some point, Austin inquired about our joint account. "Frozen," I replied. "She can't access it without both of us present at the bank. My lawyer is submitting divorce documents this week." Considering the evidence showing misuse of shared assets, the judge will probably order her to reimburse me for half of what she spent from our joint funds on the affair. "Good," Bree asserted. "Make her return every penny afterwards." Following dinner, I assisted with cleaning up. Before leaving, Maritza embraced me warmly. "Thank you for revealing the truth," she said. "I know it would have been simpler to depart quietly, but we needed to discover who she truly is." I drove back to my home now, as Cassandra had departed that night to stay with a friend still unaware of the full details. I emailed the evidence folder to Paige Hartwick along with a short introduction and my suspicions about her husband's activities. She contacted me 3 hours later for a 90-minute conversation. She had suspected wrongdoing but lacked concrete proof. Dylan had told her that his regular conferences were essential for career growth, which she had accepted. "I'm also filing for divorce and will forward this to his employer," she said. "His company has a moral conduct clause in their executive contracts. Using company funds for an affair at industry events is a violation." Dylan Hartwick was terminated 2 weeks later. Paige filed for divorce and custody of their children based on his infidelity and financial dishonesty. The evidence I provided fortified her case. Since then, Cassandra has lost not only her marriage, but also the support of her parents and communication with Austin. Carmen informed her that she wasn't allowed near her children until she proved genuine remorse for her actions, not just words, but real change and accountability. This hasn't occurred yet. The divorce process took 4 months. My lawyer provided the judge with financial proof, leading to a ruling that Cassandra had squandered shared marital assets. She was ordered to repay me $23,500 from her share of our home equity and retirement funds. A financial blow more significant than the penalty itself was the social backlash. Her extended family and professional network were aware of the situation. The details about our industry and the causes became public knowledge. Friends asked for the truth, and I provided them with the same evidence folder. At that time, I wasn't seeking gossip or revenge. I just wouldn't let her dictate the story. 6 months after sending that message to the family group chat, I encountered Carmen at a supermarket. Carmen embraced me and queried about my well-being. "I'm fine," was my response, sincerely speaking. "I've started dating someone new. A coworker facilitated the introduction." Carmen expressed her approval, stating that she is considerate and truthful, never causing any uncertainty about her whereabouts or activities. "You deserve this. You should have had it all along," Carmen beamed. "How is Maritza?" Carmen's smile softened somewhat. "She still weeps occasionally, not for Cassandra's pain, but for the loss of who she believed her daughter was. Cassandra periodically calls, trying to mend the relationship. However, Maritza cannot get over the funeral, opting instead for a vacation with her affair partner. This event shattered something profound. I nodded in agreement. Some betrayals are so distinctly harsh that complete forgiveness is impossible. I learned through mutual acquaintances that Cassandra eventually relocated to another city, attempting to distance herself from the reputation she had cultivated. Dylan's divorce left him financially drained. Due to child support payments, alimony, and the loss of his terminated executive role, he accumulated substantial debt. As far as I know, they are no longer together. The affair that destroyed them both didn't last in the face of reality and its consequences. Sending that message to the family group chat was something I never regretted, despite some people viewing it as unkind or unnecessary. However, privacy was a privilege Cassandra relinquished when she spent 18 months deceiving everyone who cared for her. Her family was entitled to the truth, to evidence they could corroborate, preventing her from distorting the truth or understating the extent of her deception. They deserved the opportunity to decide whether to continue relationships with someone who disregarded their trust so significantly, and I required witnesses. Individuals who could verify the corroborated evidence understood that I wasn't delusional, excessive, or the antagonist in this narrative. The moment I dispatched that message, I was a person unmasking my wife's infidelity. By nightfall, I was a person unwilling to let her betrayal go unaddressed, untouched, or rationalized. Often the strongest action one can take is merely presenting people with reality and allowing them to interpret it as they wish. The records bore witness on their own. $47,000 spent over 18 months, countless lies, all meticulously recorded in transactions she had not anticipated being assembled into a detailed timeline of her deceit. She utilized our shared account to finance her affair. I employed the same account to unveil it. The proof was always available. I simply needed to decide whether to scrutinize it, chronicle it, and disclose it. I'm grateful I did so. Not due to a desire to inflict pain upon her, but because I refused to collaborate in my own deceit any longer. Because her family, kind individuals who had accepted, aided, and cherished me, needed to understand the genuine individual they were interacting with. The reality led Cassandra to lose her marriage, family bonds, respect, and $23,000. These outcomes stemmed from each romantic dinner billed to our account, every lie concealing another trip, every instance where she opted for deceit while I chose honesty. I compensated for the affair with my funds and trust in our marriage. She compensated for it with everything else, and ultimately that was entirely just.